Hi, we're going to talk about how to be competitive, and this one is for the ladies. So remember the book, Men Are from Mars and Women Are from Venus by John Gray. Well, believe it or not, that applies in the world of career advancement. We do, as men and women, we do approach jobs differently. We approach career advancement differently. So let's chat about it. So let me start off with some disclaimers. I'm not a psychologist. I'm going to speak about this topic just based on my own observations in corporate America for many years. I do also, as a female, I've observed men operate in the corporate world, and I've observed myself and other females operate in the corporate world. So really and truly, the bottom line is we truly are wired differently, so we're going to talk about that. The thing that I really want to emphasize is that I want to give you some things to think about when it comes to those differences. So let's start with the men, and we're going to talk about when you see a job listing and you look at the preferred skills. Men look at those, and statistics will tell you that they feel like, I'm okay if I know about 70% of that. My personal experience has been that their threshold is much lower there, okay? So that's just my personal experience. Men tend more to spring into action. They tend to say, hey, let's talk about it, but hey, let's start finding a solution for it. Now, something that I found that was very interesting is that men will ask for a raise. They will ask for a larger office. They will ask for a promotion, and they will also be very direct and say, how can I get ahead? They're more willing to jump into something that they may not know anything about. The bottom line is that they feel like, let's just go for it or ask for what you want, okay? Now, as for women, when it comes to the preferred skills, we tend to want to make sure that we have about 90% of those locked in, and sometimes even more. We worry about what kind of impression that we're going to make. We want to be able to make an impact immediately. We feel like we're going to be watched, and we don't want to disappoint people, so that, we don't want to hear people say, yeah, I knew she couldn't really do that or have the skills for that. So we're concerned about that impression that we make. So women are far less likely to ask for more money. And when I say ask for more money, I mean when it's not that performance evaluation time, just out of the blue, ask for more money and saying, stating, hey, I think I deserve it. We're more or less likely to ask for a larger office or a promotion. And some of this is because of societal, norms. We tend to feel like we're not taught to negotiate, or that we have the right to ask for those things. We just don't feel that way. So the next thing we're going to talk about is presenting yourself through your resume. One of the things that recruiters like is for, in general, your resume to be about 1,000 words or less. And the difference could be between men and women is that women tend to sometimes be a little bit more wordy. So just something to keep an eye on. Whenever you're using an application, you usually can look at the bottom and figure out how many words you have totally on your document. So just sort of pay attention to that. The fact that you might end up being a little bit more wordy could cause really just discrimination, because you're just using too many words, your document's too long, and you don't want to be judged because of that. And then also, if you're using more words, that could speak to the tone that you're using. You're using too many words to try to say what you want. So that tone could maybe be something that the recruiter holds against you. Now let's talk about what to say when you're in an interview. Make sure that you are, avoid things like, I've only done this for 2 years, or I've done that once before, those kind of things. Make sure that when you are telling your story, sometimes we tend to say we and not I. You've got to own it when you're interviewing. That's the way you sell yourself. You may have worked on a team, but talk about what your part in that was. And you may feel like this makes you seem less pushy, more humble, but the thing is, you've got to exude that confidence when you're speaking. So the opposite of that for men would be that they feel comfortable being bold. They feel comfortable bragging. They feel comfortable talking about what they've done. And it's easier for them to have that comfort. They also, sometimes men feel more comfortable, well, they'll take credit for, full credit for something. Now, that doesn't always mean they don't deserve the credit for it, but they're very comfortable taking credit for it. So what I want you to remember is it's really just all in how you tell your story. That's what's most important. So the one thing that I want you to remember in all of this is, how do you level the playing field? That's really what this is all about. I'm not trying to say that I don't want people to change who they are. I don't want people to think they're less than or not. They're not a great person. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm not trying to get you to change who you are. What I want you to do is think about presenting yourself differently. We all have those little idiosyncrasies and habits, but there are slight things you can do that will help you level the playing field. So we're going to talk about those. So exuding confidence is something that I spoke about. And so you want to be really purposeful with your development. And the reason I'm going back to your development, it may seem like I'm backing up a little bit, but there are some things you can do that will help you build your confidence. So as far as the industry that you work in, make sure that you're really knowledgeable about it. And that could be reading some publications or just keep up with industry news that, matters to you. It's so easy to do that these days. We're not talking about subscribing to a newspaper like the old days anymore. There are newsletters online. There's all kinds of information online. But the more you know, the stronger you feel about the subject matter and the industry you're in. So that's one of the things you can do. You also probably have, with the company you work for, your own intranet, and there's all kinds of company information out there. And sometimes we get caught up in the work and we think we're too busy to stop and let's see what's going on with the company, those kind of things. But keep up with those things. Again, that all helps you to build your confidence. And then I encourage everyone, most people have them, but you really should have a me file. Keep track of the things that you're doing and your accomplishments and making sure that you document all of that. And in the long run, it's going to help you with two things. First of all, you're going to be prepared the next time an opportunity comes along. But the other thing is, there's sometimes, there's those busy times, those challenging times, and it'll make you feel better that you know that you have that list of accomplishments you can always refer to. Again, we're going to go back to building that confidence is what's going to help you to tell your story and tell your story in a much stronger way. All right, so let's talk about another way to build confidence is to refine your communication. So this may sound silly, but I would tell you to learn a new word every day. And actually, you don't need a dictionary for this. I actually have subscribed to a service where I do on my phone. I get a new word every day. And then I want you to try to take that word and use it in a sentence that day at some point. And you may think, oh, that's kind of silly, but it's really not. It helps you build your vocabulary and, it's fun and you learn some new things. And you stumble through it too, because you're going to use the word in the wrong way sometimes. But have a little fun with it, but that helps you build confidence. Another habit that I would love to encourage you to do is to start saying, I think, I believe. When you're in those conversations, those meetings with people, show that confidence and start making that a habit because you'll keep it going. Try to be concise when you speak and speak with clarity. Those are simple things. They may seem like no-brainers, but if you're a little bit more conscious of it, you will do that. And definitely get in the habit of when it's appropriate, take credit. Say I instead of we. After you do these things, really, you're going to be ready you'll be prepared, you'll be ready to start practicing. And when I say practicing, I mean getting ready for that next interview that might come up. But you would be amazed at how doing some of these small things are going to help you with building your confidence. So the next piece is just about advocating for yourself. Believe it or not, whether you think about it or not, we all have a brand. It's really your image with people, and especially in the workplace. You know, people hear your name or they see you and they think, oh, that person's a go-getter, that person's really strong, they're smart, those things. So doing some of these things that I've talked about, that will help you build your brand. But you can also showcase your brand too. You're always going to do that through your resume. That's, you know, your written diary of what you've done, talks about your journey, and then your interview is another way that you're going to showcase your brand. And then one more thing that you can do is the things that you've done that you're most proud of. You can create a brag sheet. Some people call it a portfolio. And I have a video about how to do that, so you can refer to that. But all of this is about how you showcase yourself and how you let people see who you really are. So, we talked about leveling the playing field, building your confidence, feeling comfortable, getting ready for that next opportunity that comes along. And most of all, I want you to just remember, have some fun with it, enjoy the journey. I'd love to hear more about your experiences with the differences between men and women in the workplace. Have you noticed these things? Have you had challenges? Please share in the comments and let's learn from each other and help each other. Like and subscribe as always. See you in the next video.